following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio Unincorporated, or their management.
Let's figure it out on the Archie Beslow radio show. He cares, he shares, he knows. The journey of our youth is in our control. So tell your family and tell your friends that the word on the street is we all should listen in. So let's figure it out on the Archie Beslow radio show.
What's up, Sinclair? My man, 50 grand. Perry. DJ Money. Good morning, good morning. This is the Archie Beslow radio show. Let's figure it out. I'm glad to be back. God has truly blessed me once again on this beautiful Sunday. I am still elated, excited, overjoyed with what happened yesterday. The March for Our Lives, man. It goes back to what I always talk about our kids. Our kids have voices. Our kids have meaning. Our kids have drive. Our kids have a lot of love in their hearts. Our kids are seeking a lot of attention. Our kids. Guess what? Our kids showed up and showed out with a lot of positive messages. We had 8-year-olds, we had 11-year-olds, we had 12-year-olds, 16-year-olds. We had all different types of races. The one young, me and my co-host guest in the studio today, we was talking about the one young lady from L.A., the things that she spoke on was just powerful. And I've been saying this for years, people. We have to have conversations with our kids, not conversations at our kids. We have to listen to our kids. We have to confide in them. We have to let them know that we can eat at the same table without giving a lot of instructions. Sometimes we got to let the kids start the conversations at the table. You know what I mean? Whether you're in tune to their conversations or not, you need to listen to what they're talking about. Because what happens is, and we all know, when we don't pay attention to what's going on in our own household, our kids are going to go seek that information and that comfort from other households. So moving forward, I got my man in the studio with me. Everybody knows him. He's my hero. He don't even realize I've been watching this young man for years. When I'm talking about a true foot soldier, a true gentleman that's dedicated to a true dude that love his city, a true dude that love our youngins. None other than my man Ron Brown, man. Ron Moten.
I take Ron Brown too.
I know, right.
Because he sacrificed a lot
Ron,
of people
you feel me? That was on my heart.
What's up, brother?
And tell the people who you are, fam.
Well, my name is Ronald Moten, and I'm a brother, a humble brother, who is proud to say that I come off of the sacrifices of a lot of our ancestors who I studied, who were a part of the civil rights movement, who worked with Martin Luther King. I'm also a proud father and a proud son of a mother and grandparents who sacrificed everything and helped build this great city, Washington, D.C., and we're here when nobody wanted to be here.
Amen.
And I'm also a proud guy who came home from prison, and it was a guy by the name of Al-Malik Farrakhan who gave me opportunities to learn from him and do the things that I've been doing for the last 25 years. And create an organization called Peaceaholics, and we did some great things in this city. And I'm a proud man who worked with some courageous youth in this city who did some of the things that we saw yesterday, where we had thousands of young people march down Martin Luther King Avenue to say enough is enough. Where we had hundreds of people to go down to the Wilson's building in the nation's capital who said enough was enough.
Amen.
But God does things for a reason, and we here today to talk about it.
Amen. Hey, that's my guy. We're gonna go straight to the phone lines. Straight to the phone lines. Cause I think I got a lot of kids that want to express themselves. Who we got on the line today? Is that Daniel? Daniel on the line?
Yes, sir.
My man, good morning, sir. How you doing, young man?
I'm good.
Introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are.
My name is Daniel Coward. I attend Archbishop Curl High School.
My man. So you know what the radio show is about today, man. It's about a lot of powerful young men and young ladies, voicing their opinion about just the things that they're tired of. What did you take away from yesterday, Daniel?
The march was very powerful. I love to see how everybody stands together as a community, as a like family.
Amen.
And it was real good.
So you being a young man, Danny, what are some of the things that you experienced that finally people of your age spoke on? What are some of the things that they may have spoken on that wasn't a part of your message? What if you had the opportunity to get on that podium and on that mic and speak to thousands and thousands or millions of people, what message would you give? Or what would you want? What change you want?
I would like to see more of us standing together instead of, a lot of times we divided and we come as individuals, but yesterday was a big thing to see everybody together, and we need to do more of that.
Amen. All right, man. You my guy. Hey, thanks for waking up. Get that sleep out of your eye, Slim. I know you got some sleep in your eye. Hey, love you, champ, man. I appreciate you calling in, man. Hey, hit up some of your counterparts, because, this show is about y'all. It's not about me. This show is about y'all. You feel me?
Okay.
All right, man. Love you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Love you, too.
Outstanding. So, yeah, so, Ron, it's like, so even like that. So I actually reached out to people to have their kids call in. I have we know where we come from. We shoot it straight from the hip.
Right.
I don't want to use the word that I have a problem that I have to, have people have they. But if we don't ever get to a point where our parents are like looking for positive outlets for our kids to tap into, so that our kids can begin actually searching for positive outlet themselves.
Yeah, a lot of parents, their positive outlet for our children is video games and things like that. Right. And they let video games and things like that raise our children instead of giving them positive outlets and engaging with people and learning their history and learning other people's cultures, right, as well as people, most of all, learning our culture, understanding us and where we come from.
Right.
And one of the things that we have to do is take our children and put all the beefs aside, because, a lot of parents had beefs and conflicts in their relationships. If you look at Washington, D.C., 91% of the 15 to 17-year-olds live in single-parent households in communities where we work with a lot of our children who have problems. And if we don't start pulling our children together and listening to them and teaching them and giving them positive outlets and leading by example, like we started talking about the children in D.C. like that the young man said. He said, I want to see more people coming together, right?
Yeah.
D.C. is the most divided city when you start talking about disparities than anywhere in the country. When you start talking about the have and the have-nots. Right. In Washington, D.C., whether it's education or anything, like it's an op-ed in the Washington Post. I forgot the lady's name. She was just in my office the other day, checking enterprises, and she was telling us about the op-ed that she was writing about how black people are suffering more than anybody in the city, right, and talking about the affordable housing and things, why we're trying to do some things is not enough, right? And just to know that only time people care about us is when 17 white children get killed. We got to keep it real.
Speak on it.
And I was so happy because I wasn't really like all enthused about the march initially, because I'm thinking about all the times that we march and we cry in all our cities throughout America, right, with black people and brown people being killed, and nobody cared.
Amen.
But I'm not going to say thank God, because I don't want to see nobody die. By the grace of God, these young people who went through similar challenges came together and said, we're going to stop this not just for ourselves, but when they came to D.C. and talked to black children, when that young white guy said that we have to come together and use our white privilege to let the world know that we're not the only one going through this. We're not the only ones going through this. In fact, we went through this one day.
Wow. But
in the nation's capital, there are people and young black children who go through this every day.
Wow.
And what we have to understand, too, is every 50 years, something great happens in America.
Okay.
And every 50 years normally is led by young people. In 1963, when we talk about the civil rights movement, most of the time we say Martin Luther King in the segregation. But I was blessed to be with those people who worked with Martin Luther King, who were in the trenches with in fact, one of the people who mentored me organized the children. And in 1963, over 6,300 children went to prison.
Let me go pay this bill real quick.
Okay. The insegregation.
Hey, we gonna come back. WL 95.9 FM, 1450 AM. The Archie Beslow radio show, Let's Figure It Out. Hey, man, it's going to be a heck of a topic, man. We'll be back after these commercials. So, yeah, we still live. So, Facebook, I know you supporting me. We on the air. We doing this. Man, reach out to some young people. I need some young people calling in. And I can't, so... Y'all know me. I'm old, so I get stuck on my words because I be wanting to say 10 things at one time. So I got to check myself. But real talk, I'm challenging you guys. We got football coaches out here. We got teachers. We got parents. Call somebody. Text a youngin'. The number is 1-800-450-7876. Again, the number is 1-800-450-7876. Let's do it here in-house. We don't have to have our kids involved always on the national front. We got a radio station that I'm on that over 200,000 listeners listening to all across the country. And people that are listening to me online is in the whole world. So let's exercise our power and reach out to a young man or a young lady. Wake them up. Tell them to just pick up the phone. Call somebody. We always talk about what our kids are not doing, the things that they're watching on TV, the radio shows they listening to and all that. Okay, now you have an opportunity to have a young man or a young lady come on air to get some off their chest. You feel me, Brother Ron?
Yeah, I feel you. Young people are the answer. They the answer. They are the answer.
This platform is a family and youth radio station. We always searching for solutions. We always want answers. But what they say, you can take the horse to the water.
Can't make them drink it.
You can't make them drink it.
Yes.
So I definitely want you guys to have a. We got some people calling in there.
All the hospitals and doctors and surgeons.
What's gonna happen?
Just to survive.
And what we're not realizing is our youngins are rallying together to bring change. Don't think it's just a political change. They're going to start rallying together and they're going to bring change within their own families. Because what's going to happen is they're going to start forming their own groups. And you're going to start getting young men and young women that's going to have groups that's going to be going against parents.
Challenging hypocrisy.
You feel me?
Challenging hypocrisy.
Yeah, they going because they tired.
Yeah, they sick and tired of being sick and tired, just like I am.
And all my years and all my life, whenever I talk to a young person, they either started out with or whatever. You know why? Because we as adults, we don't spend a lot of time having conversation with them so they can actually pick up on the proper etiquette, how to have a conversation, how to start a conversation, what substance to talk about. That starts with the adult. You know, a lot of us, I tell people all the time, I don't want nobody else to tell me that they binge watch any other shows. Because you're not binge listening to the Archie Beslow radio show on Sunday from 10 to 11. Because I know all y'all ain't going to church. I know you're not.
1-800-450-7876. 7876. 1-800-450-7876. We about to go back online. Call in. Give your thoughts. We're going to light this joint up. We on here till 11 o'clock. We just getting started.
We talk and we
14:50 a.m.
There was so many profound statements yesterday. I'm actually pulling it up. Yeah, somebody said, I'm not asking. No, we about to come back on? All right, we about to come back on. Yeah. This public radio, y'all.
WOLDCnews.com.
All right, we're back. We're back up. So once again, I'm in the studio with a good friend of mine, Brother Ron Moten, who I've idolized, and I'm not ashamed to say it, because he's one of the dudes from around the way that from day one, he stands for what he talks about. He means what he talks about. He actually acts on what he's talking about. So you got guys like him, and he was in foundation. It's cool to talk about the piece of Harlem.
Yeah.
So I watched this young man for many years, and he had, and I'm gonna allow him to speak on it. He had, he has an organization called Peace of Harlem, and I watched this young man go into some of the craziest situations in some of the craziest neighborhoods, and just actually going there and kind of just bring people together. So Ron, we can actually speak towards that because it all ties into what we're talking about.
Right. So the Peace of Harlem, I had the Peace of Harlem. The spirit still lives, and people who were in the organization have gone on to do some great things. A lot of them work in government now. And at the time when we started Peace of Harlem, wouldn't hire them because they had records. Now, brothers and sisters, because of the work that people like the Peace of Harlem and Al Malik and Tyrone did, they opened the doors for a lot of people to come behind us, right? And we did some things, and I've traveled around the country, bro, and I don't normally boast myself or whatever, but it was 60 staff that we had for 4 years with a $3 million budget. And we sent 160 children to college. We squashed 40 beefs. So when I go around the country and I go with all these programs that a lot of them want to teach me how to do the work that I was doing,
Right.
in most cases I should be teaching them, I don't know nobody who did 40 truces in a 6-year period. I mean, it's not easy doing a truce.
Right.
It's not easy squashing the beef.
Right.
And the other day, and I'm going to post this picture on my Facebook page, I was so happy to see a girl by the name of Monica Watts, who is like the youth outreach director for housing in Washington, D.C., Department of Housing, for public housing, and a guy by the name of BJ. Monica was from a lynch mob, they call it Woodland Terrorists, and BJ is from Chopper City. They were both the leaders. And to see them coming to the store, the checker store, to get a fish dinner, which we do every Friday to raise money, and see them hug and embrace each other when they were going against each other, they were the ones that helped us squash the beef.
Wow.
And now he's in his last year of apprenticeship program for plumbing, because that's what he's been in since 2006. But he finally went back to school, and she's like a couple of years short of getting her master's degree.
Outstanding.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's the type of work we did, because we believe that if we weren't building young people to take our place, right, that's not leadership. Like a lot of people think leadership is just always being in charge. Leadership is knowing that you got to be replaced.
Amen.
And a lot of us don't know how to pass the torch to these young people.
Yep.
And like a lot of people ask me, hey, Mo, you bringing the Peace of Harlem back? No. Mo job is to train young people and people who follow in my footsteps to do what I did 10 times better.
Amen.
Mo is being able to acknowledge that Mo made some mistakes and to teach other people how not to make those mistakes, right?
Yes, sir.
Mo, understands that my work speaks for itself, and I ain't got to prove nothing to nobody, right? And Dick Gregory said it best one time. I had a conversation with Dick Gregory, and he says, when the universe chooses you, sometimes you don't leave footsteps behind.
Wait a minute.
So I just go out here and do this work and continue to do the work I do with Check It right now, where we took young people, just like we did with Peace of Harlem, over 40 different times, and these young people were wrecking havoc down Chinatown. All the businesses were complaining. They were making all this noise. We can't make our money. These young gay gang members are terrorizing Gallery Place.
Wow.
Went to them with the help of the Far Southeast Collaborative, who gave us a $10,000 mini grant. That's all it took.
Awesome.
And Chief Diane Grooms, who's gone now, who gave us dialogue because the officers down there would disrespect them and treat them any kind of way. And she said, well, you get your people, I get my people.
Okay.
And we're going to hold each other accountable. We're going to move this forward. 5 years later, you took a group of gang members to business owners to own a business on MLK where they have a clothing store, renting out hub space to other businesses, right?
Yep.
And have event space for LGBTQ youth and straight youth in D.C., right? And that's what the Peace of Harlem was all about. Right, and you had people who stopped that, to some degree, but it was too many seeds that were planted. So now it's growing in its own way, where you got people like Brother Smithfield out here doing great work, and young women like Angel, who was doing stuff before she met us, but Angel got the spice line. Maya has gone on to be a law person who's fighting. She's a lawyer fighting for housing for people in the District of Columbia. I mean, I can just go on and on and on about the staff, and I can go on and on and on about the young people who doing great things, and that's what this march remind me of. Young people who have grown and blossom because people have invested in them and listened to them and gave them a voice. And that's what we need to do, give our young people a voice and an opportunity to grow, because when we go and talk to these young people and then we don't want to let them talk. Right. We don't want to let them get involved. Right. We don't want to let them make money. Right. But then we saying about what they're not doing right. Not doing right. And, you know, we go all the way back to Ballou. When the shooting happened in Ballou with J-Rock. Yeah. We're going to talk about the South Capitol Massacre in D.C. Yeah. I can go on about what young people experience, but thank God somebody is listening to the young people. Amen. Because thousands of young people have been crying in D.C.
Well, let me take this. I'm going to take this call right now, and we're gonna continue that dialogue, because, like I always tell you, you are so informative with who we have on the line right now. Is Nia?
Yeah.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing? Introduce yourself.
My name is Mia Music.
Hey, Mia. Tell my listening audiences how old you are.
I am 8 years old.
8 years old. That's what I'm talking about.
Outstanding. Love it, dear. What you want to tell to the people? Tell her how she felt about the march.
I felt like some children were taken in the lead, and it was right for them to do it, because it's wrong for police and other people to shoot children, because I thought the government was trying to help kids and help them to live and help them their environment, but actually they're just destroying it.
Wow. Hey, Mia, and you are how old? How old are you? Because I need that to resonate.
I'm 8.
8. All right, dear. So, hey, Mia, thank you. You know that I love you, and I'm going to talk to you very soon. Hey, sis, thank you for that.
No problem, bro.
All right, y'all.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So my thing is, you have an 8-year-old. So we living in a time now, Ron. We live in a time now where that whole age barrier thing has to go.
Right.
It's just our kids don't have the recovery time that we had coming up.
Right.
You know, we weren't even taught recovery, but we had recovery symbols in our lives.
Right.
You hit a very valid point. I was on my man Mike Jones' the Block Radio show yesterday when we was talking, and in the society we live in today, the adults, seniors, and everybody else is pretty much running our country. And you hit it, and I had spoke about it when Dr. King, Malcolm X, and all them guys were in their 30s or their 20s, and the world was forced to listen to them, and those individuals brought change. Muhammad Ali was a young man, changed his name.
Right.
So we think it was young people, and you hit on it, that changed the world. So our young kids are rebelling, not just against their families, but against the system. Mm-hmm. The system is blocking the young people out, and then we as families and as parents, we're blocking our own kids out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things that we do is called adultism. We always talking down to young people, but one of the things that I tell people all the time, that God has blessed young people with something that we don't have. Yeah. And so you can take, it's like a blind man. You can take a blind person and they can't see, but they can feel things that we can't feel. They can hear things that we can't hear. And that's how young people are, because they have no motives. They can feel when somebody's about to harm them. Yep. They can feel like you have a person that comes around young people, they always feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. It's a reason why they feel uncomfortable about that person. And most of the time, that person either done something to them, or the talent that God's given them, the skill that He's given them to feel things, even though they don't have the wisdom yet, is something that's unique. Yep. So we always have to listen to our young people, as every 50 years, they have done something great in America, and throughout the world they do it all the time to make people listen. Yeah. And a lot of times in our community, our young people make us listen when we see the things that they do that young people shouldn't do. Right. Because we don't listen when they try to tell us another way.
And that's thank you.
You know what I'm saying? So our young people cry out for help, because when you are traumatized, it's not normal for a person every single day to have somebody around them killed. And I'm going to close with this and let you ask the next question to the next person. Like, a lot of times we look in our community and we see all these people with high blood pressure, right? And a lot of times people think high blood pressure comes from the way we eat. It's not always that.
Right.
So when you look at a person like a cat, for instance, right? When the cat is in fear of something happening, like a dog or whatever, they you see them do like this, and their hair comes up like a porcupine, and their adrenaline puts them in a position that for a split minute they can do something that's unnatural. They can run, jump, and do things to get away.
Say it all the time.
Well, if you're in a neighborhood and every day you ducking from bullets or somebody close to you gets shot, your pressure goes up because that's what happens when the adrenaline flows through your body. So if this is happening on a regular basis, it's harmful to you, not just mentally, but physically. Right. And that's what a lot of people in urban communities go through. They go through this trauma and they're never healed, and it affects us in so many ways.
All right, hey, my man Ron, we're gonna go to the phone lines. I got my man Jamal on the line. No? Oh, my time. There go Tiny, y'all. We're going to make time. WL 95.9 FM, 1450 AM. We'll be right back after this break. So hey man, let me go to some of my face, Ron. That's why you're here, champ. Good Lord. Miss Darlene, yes, youth have great instincts about who they trust and let in. They know when people have their best interests at heart. True statement. Miss Vicky said, right, Ron, God gives intuition and instincts. That's true. What we got here? You know Miss Gann, don't you? You know Sierra?
Yeah.
Miss Gann say, this show with Archie Beslow talks about real issues with real people in the community every Sunday. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks, sis. I'm trying to get our youngins involved on my radio show. Good morning, Brother Doc. What we got here? Youth advocacy. Yes, sir. What we got?
Sean, what's up, girl? Roseville Rough Rider.
Yeah. Communication is a big issue with our young people. Great topic.
Sinclair Skinner, that's my man, that Bitcoin.
Yeah, watch.
He was hit before me. He didn't put me on like he was supposed to.
Yo, tell Sinclair I said what's up, man. That's my
I
man.
can say what's up, Sinclair. He should have busted me upside the head and say, Mo, listen. I got something, bro. You got to listen to me.
Right.
I didn't listen.
I got you, Mike.
I'm still broke because I didn't listen.
Exactly. Creela said, wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking. Let's start thinking ahead. Way back then, Teddy P knew. That's true. That's facts. That's facts. We also have to live by example as parents. Sierra said we have to also live by example as parents. That is facts. What we got here? You can lead a horse to the water. That's what I was trying to think, sis. Yeah, I was trying to get that quote. I'm spreading the word now. Thank you, Ron. Yeah, get our young people to call. And again, the number is 1-800-450-7876. 1-800-450-7876. Well, we don't realize as adults, if we get our kids to have input on a platform as such, that engages them to actually go out and brag to their peers about, hey, I was on a radio show talking about the march. We have to give our kids momentum. We have to give our kids encouragement. We have to instill in them the things that we want them to do and be a part of. We have to actually feed that to them souls. And it doesn't always come from an argument. It doesn't always come from cussing them out. It doesn't always come from pointing fingers and telling them how terrible they are. Because you got to realize, adults, we are more terrible than our kids because our kids are a product of what we put into them. And if our kids are the way that they are, and I'm not even talking about the direct parents or the mom and the dad. I'm talking about the aunts, the uncles, the grandmothers, the brothers, the sisters, the best friends. I'm talking about the people that are around these kids. And when you turn your back to this young man or young lady that you know that are going left, when all it took for you to say is one word to make them to go right, but because of your precious time in your life, you didn't feel like it at that point in time. But then that kid goes out and do some type of heinous crime, and now you feel bad. You may not share with someone that you feel bad about it, but you definitely feel bad. Brother Ron, anything you want to say to my Facebook? Because I get to talk.
No, I'm just saying I appreciate you all listening on a Sunday morning. We just gotta get more involved and engaged, man. These some trying times for America, but trying times is normally what make diamonds. It's either gonna get bad
All right.
Or worse, or it's gonna get better. That's where we at right now.
Yeah, hey, that's my man Ron. So we gonna let's go to my man. Okay, let me hit brother Mike. Hold off. Let me get Jamal. Jamal, is it Jamal?
Yeah.
What's up, young man?
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Tell the people that listening, the over 200-some thousand people that's listening to you, who you are, young man.
My name is Jamal Richardson, and I'm just, a young black man just trying to make it in life.
Okay. So what you feel about the march, the march yesterday, young man? Give me some input of how the march made you feel, what you took from the march, and if you had the opportunity to actually speak on that podium, what would you have said to the masses?
Okay, the way I feel about the march, I feel like it just kind of took over, and it kind of like threw people in the loop, because with all these people shooting up schools and everything, I kind of blame the parents, because, they're bringing up their children, and it's like they're out here shooting up schools and stuff, and it's like they don't know, they don't have no way to turn, they don't have no guidance. So
right.
for them to do what they're doing, it's kind of like, it's like on the parents.
Right.
And it's somewhat them too, somewhat the children's fault, because they need to also be responsible for their actions and to need to check what they're doing.
Can I ask him a question?
Yes, sir.
Not in all schools, but most of these school shootings are coming from areas in suburban areas where there are a lot of white children, and some of these parents. Some of these children have parents where they living in a household with a mother and father. And maybe back in 2006, I wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post talking about the correlation of violent video games and different things that our children have access to that they didn't in the past. Do you think that the music, the video games like Grand Theft Auto and all these things I talked about over a decade ago that were going to influence our people, do you think that they influence white America, the children? Do you think that this has anything to do with it? Because I was locked up. I'm from uptown. And I used to tell people all the time, like a lot of people think that you had to live in poverty to be violent. A lot of the guys that are the most shrewdest people came from neighborhoods where they had two-parent households. Right? They just thought before they acted, so it was well planned out. A lot of times they didn't get caught the first or second time. Right. So, like, what do you think about that? Do you think that the what these young people are breathing in and have access to now, a lot of times when their parents are not there, are part of the problem, or not acknowledging that your children have problems too, is part of the problem? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I honestly think that, between like TV, Grand Theft Auto, and all that other stuff, kids turn to that in order to like take out their frustration versus the reality of the world. Like a kid can come home, play Grand Theft Auto, shoot up a lot of people, and then go outside and think that's okay. But in reality, it's not. So it's like they don't know which way to turn. And for the parents to not acknowledge that their kids have a problem, that's why it's so much gun violence going around, because that's all that the kids know to turn to is Grand Theft Auto and like all these other games. They just like know how to shoot people and keep doing it. So they can't talk to their parents about not doing it and that is wrong, but they only know to turn to what they know of, and that's Grand Theft Auto and shooting and killing. So
what happens, and this is a solution. The Archie Beslow radio show is about solutions. So
right.
Well, my thing is, everybody does. When you go on a roller coaster ride because you want that drop, you want to feel that drop. So if a kid is on TV playing a game and he's looking at, he hiding behind cover, his man is in California, gave him a signal that the other dude, the little dude, gonna come around the corner and you can get him. So now when kids are playing that game, any human, you want the reality of how does it really feel. And I know that may sound crazy, but you got to think, but there's a lot of things in life that you watch on TV, you listen to on the radio, even as adults, and it just plays on your mind. So now you want to step out, like an out-of-body experience, and you want to actually see how that feels. And like Ron said, it only takes a split second for somebody. You got some of the most productivest people in the world. They just made one wrong decision in that fraction of a second, and everything was taken away from them. Does it make it a bad person? No, it's your
they
mental.
got caught.
They got caught, right? And their mental capacity for that moment. How many people you have been driving in your cars and you just kind of blanked out, or people that's been drinking and you like, how the heck did I get home?
Right.
You gotta think about it. So for that moment, you wasn't in your own mindset, but something about your mind allowed you to get home. So Jamal, man, let me go get this other call, man, because we getting close to that time, man. Brother, I appreciate you, man. I look forward to having you on the show.
One thing somebody just said, which is true, a lot of privileged children, right, they can't accept no.
They can't accept.
When their parents tell them no, they can't accept it. They don't know how to deal with it because everything a lot of times has been handed to them. With our children, they used to know. They used to going through adversity.
Right.
They used to seeing people get killed. They used to being betrayed and all that. So they have a lot of tenacity. That's why I think one of the most important things we can do as parents is educate our children.
Right.
And also one of the things that we got to deal with as parents and the system is when parents use the system to affect a co-parent and it affects the children. That's another thing that hasn't been talked about enough in America.
All right, we're gonna go to the call. Miss Dynamite Tiny, can you actually lock my man Mike in and just have him just stay locked in? But I'm gonna go to JT Freeman first. So I want to lock brother Mike in, so Mike can carry it out with us the rest of the way. Then I want to wrap to brother Freeman. Who we got? Who on the air?
Hello?
Who's this? Is this Freeman?
Yes, this is Jatal Freeman.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
So what did you take from the march? Or how you feel about the march?
The march was very eye-opening and empowering to me, not only because my family has experienced gun violence. We've lost someone to gun violence. And they not only talked about taking the guns out of the schools, but they also talked about taking the guns out of the communities because they're killing us, honestly. And it's...
Okay. If you're listening, Brother Freeman, can you call back? Brother Mike, you on the air?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey, Archie.
Hey, Mike. Yeah, go. We lost our call, but we'll get him back on. I think it was a young man talking about So, Mike, first of all, this is my man Mike Jones from the Block Radio Show every Saturday morning. A very good friend of mine. He actually is the reason behind my success on my radio show. Mike, what you got for the people?
Well, I just wanted to say, even with Mo, we go way back, even with the advent of the Pizza Hall.
What's up, brother?
We believe in what, and what you say yesterday, Archie, and even on our show, and what I know about you two gentlemen, we not just talk. And many times you got so many cats out there that just want to talk and be about it and not be about it. They're supposed to be about it. And I can say for you, I know you've been doing this for so long time now, but stay focused on it. You guys got a real good thing. And it's going to take some time because once the youth, like Mo has been in there, once they know you here and they're used to talking to you, you're going to have a show full of youth. And the older people have to sit back and just really just begin to listen and find out what's going to make them click.
Amen. All right, Mike.
Yeah, so keep it up, man.
Thanks, Mike. You keep it up too,
yeah,
bro.
You keep it up, fam.
No doubt. We're going to do it together.
Yes, sir.
Talk about it, so I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
All right, baby. So, young man, you still on the line? Freeman?
I'm a female.
I'm female. I'm so sorry. I got like 40 phone calls. Please, just don't charge to my brain, not my heart.
It's okay. It's okay.
So you were talking about how they were talking about taking guns away?
Yes. Not only in the schools, but also in our communities as well. And I think that was like something that really touched me because the kids from Florida, they came because of what happened in their school, but they not only touched on that, they also touched on how guns affected our communities.
Okay.
So, can I ask a question to you? Do you think that, and because I like to to work it from the devil's advocate from both sides of the equation. Do you think that young people do more what they do from not being raised right and not having opportunities, or is it just the gun? Because I'm gonna tell you my belief. My belief is that we definitely need gun reform files. We don't need AK-47s and extended clips to kill animals or even to protect our household, right? But I think, like with me, without all the stuff I'm saying, I want a gun in my house, right? But
so we got get into State. I know he's State. I need you to stay on the phone. I'm gonna come right back to you. We're gonna take a break, okay? Just stay on the phone, dear. Listen to the Archie Beslow radio show. Let's figure it out on WAO 95.9 FM, 1450 AM, WLDCnews.com, where information is power. We'll be right back.
I'm about to ask her, do she think that's just the root cause? It's just the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the
Yeah,
gun?
we still live.
Yeah, is it just the gun? I'm going to ask the young lady when we get back on, is it just the gun, or is it society as a whole and the things that we have to deal with, the things we not? Like, I'll give you a prime example. One of the things that I always taught people, that one of the reasons why you had so much killing in our community is comprehension. Like, in our schools, we started teaching to a test. And at one point, it was a part of the test called comprehension. And you had to be able to comprehend what you read, right? So when we stop making children comprehend, learn how to comprehend, when you can't comprehend, you make bad decisions. When you are in a conflict with somebody and you can't comprehend and make a wise decision, then you do things that are detrimental to society and your health. Right. And a lot of our children can't comprehend, and they only know how to deal with anger. Right. So the education factor is very serious in our community. In other communities, like I said, a lot of children are privileged, and they don't know how to say accept no. They don't know how to accept it.
We grew up on our parents saying no.
Yeah. So when somebody challenges you and say no, or when you're going through trauma in your own way, a lot of times they go through trauma too, and it's not dealt with, that's how you respond. So I just want to ask her, is there another piece of the puzzle that we leaving out? Okay. Because like, we just had somebody in Austin, Texas, who was bombing people. Another young person, young white person at that, who was going around just bombing, blowing people up. Yeah. Right? He didn't have a gun. Right. Then when he was on the news, they was talking about all the stuff he was going through. We don't ever talk about that in our community. But they was talking about everything he was going through. So my point is, are there other factors that we need to look at? Because even if we take the guns away, which would help, if we take away, I believe, a lot of these high magazines and these AK-47s and things like that, we don't need those. Right. But like I said, I believe that I want to have my gun in my house.
You gotta
know what I'm
have
saying? I think everybody deserves to have the right to protect themselves, but I think we going too far when we have all these things that just give people. And why does a young person need a gun? You can't drink alcohol till you're 21. You can't smoke weed allegedly until you're 21. Yep. Right? Yep. So, we got to look at the whole picture. So that's something to me I think is very interesting that we must talk about.
You got to get up. I wrote something down, and like you said, it's not just guns. It's like you say, and that's a very valid point, man. It's so many, and we often talk about how we're killing each other. Right. So that's an ongoing issue. And I had jotted some down. And I'm also going to talk about it when we come back on the air. If a kid open up and talk, you got to take advantage of that moment. Right. So for the kids that are calling in today, right, you are doing a disservice to the child and yourself and your entire family tonight. To not expound on what they're talking about. Right. And that conversation would go towards something else that you really want to talk to your child about. Because all kids want to have the opportunity to start the dialogue. Right. I agree. So that's the whole purpose of this show. And I said every chance I get, I'm okay. I didn't get the radio show for Archie to make Archie this great dude, and I really care. And I go into households and I talk to the kids. I see the disconnect in the homes because the mom is dealing with something with the dad is dealing with something with the mom, the daughter's dealing with something with the boyfriend, the son, he doesn't know who he is or what he want to be. Now everybody in the household is afraid to talk about it. You feel me? So we about to come back up.
WOL, News Talk 1450 AM.
95.9 FM.
All right, we're back on the air. So we got is Anthony on the line as well? Brother Anthony?
Yes.
My man, Anthony, introduce yourself.
My name is Anthony Thomas. I go to Archie Beslow.
My man, so if you want to, man, and you know that Coach Archie love you, my man, can you speak towards what you took from the march? How did it make you feel?
Right. So unfortunately, I didn't get to go to the march. I was at a football workout. But from what I've seen, like everybody that went to Carroll, that went to the march, it was very powerful. Everybody had signs. Everybody was showing love. It was no discrimination between people. It was different races and stuff there. Everybody was together, coming together for one reason.
Okay. And if you had the opportunity to get on the mic and speak, and what would you have told the masses that showed up at the event?
What would I tell who?
Everybody that attended the event. If you had the opportunity to get on the mic and actually speak to the masses that attended the march.
I would tell them that I love to see this happen, like all the races and stuff, like that shouldn't be happening if we're able to come together like this for one situation. We should all be able to come together for anything.
That's right.
All right, man. Young man, I love you. I'm proud of you. Keep making me proud. Keep working hard.
You already know.
My man, I'll see you soon.
I know you, Coach.
All right, baby. So, yes, man. Miss JT, what's pronounce your name, dear? Because I don't want to say it wrong.
It's Jata.
Jata, there you go. So, Jata, Mr. Moten had a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I wanted to ask you, do you think that there are other things that we need to address besides the gun? Because, like with me, I was one of them people who was totally against guns all the way around the table. Over time, and just thinking about the situation and watching the things that's going on in the country and the world and everything, I believe a person should have the right to have a gun in their household to protect themselves, right? But that doesn't mean we need these big AK-47 guns, all these other guns our children are getting. I don't even know how they're getting them, and these extended banana clips and all. It's not. You don't need all that. So besides dealing with the issue of guns, whatever you believe, far as that, regard to that, what do you think are the other issues that we need to address in society? Because it takes somebody with a certain state of mind to take a gun, to take a knife, to build a bomb, and do something to hurt other people. What are the other things you think we need to address as a young person?
Right.
As a young person, I do think we need to not only address weapons, like you said, like AR-15s, AK-47s, that are supposed to be in war. They're not supposed to be on the streets.
Right.
But I think we also need to focus on drugs. Also,
Amen.
Like weed, marijuana, K2.
Yes, a young person. Tell the truth.
Those are synthetic drugs. Those are not even. They are deadly, and people don't understand that. And everybody, as a youth, I see people, who do it, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's cool. It make you feel nice. It make you feel good." But what they don't understand is that K2 stuff, that stuff is not. It's not natural. And I've seen people on the streets. I live in Southeast DC. I've seen people on the streets zombified. They don't move. They can't talk. You look at them, it's like they're looking right through you. It's like you're glass. You're made of glass, and they can't even see you. And I think that's also a problem in our community. That youth under the age of 18 are able to get drugs. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand where they're coming from. I don't know how they get them, but they got them. And I think that's a problem, as well as our youth also being able to attain guns. That doesn't make sense to me. Why is a 12, 13, 14-year-old able to buy a gun? At 12, 13, 14, I was not thinking about guns. I was not thinking about drugs. I was thinking about playing football or basketball with the boys because I was a tomboy. That was my thing. And so I don't understand why it's still here and nobody does anything about it. And we talk and we say stuff and we try to bring awareness, but it's like nobody's listening.
I want you to. So for me, for me. And what I did is I jotted down your number, and I'm also you have a pen and paper with you handy? 'Cause I want to talk.
Yeah, give me like 2 seconds.
All right, so I have your number. I'm not gonna call it out. So I have your number. What I'll do is I'll reach to you after the show because I want to invite you on my show because you have a lot. You have a lot on your heart and a lot of information that you can help generate. You feel me, Ron?
Yeah.
Question that I've been asking my callers: if you were at the march and you had the opportunity to stand behind the podium, what message would you have sent?
What I would say to the people is probably we need to get informed because a lot of people are ignorant. Not ignorant as in like they're stupid. They just don't understand. A lot of people don't understand, and a lot of people don't know.
Yes, ma'am.
And I would just say we need to inform ourselves, and we need to realize that a gun and a bullet has no identification. It doesn't care about your name, your race, your gender. It doesn't care whether you're the president of the United States or whether you work at McDonald's.
Amen.
A bullet does not matter. If there is no social, hierarchy with a bullet. There is no class, color, anything with a bullet. There's no sexuality with a bullet. A bullet can hit anyone and anything, and it does not matter. And we need to stand together, and we need to inform ourselves so that way we can take it not just to Congress, not just to the Senate. We can go to the president and maybe sit there and tell him this is what you need to do, and this is why. We need to have facts. And not only taking AR-15s, not only taking AK-47, not only taking these military weapons out of our community and out of our streets, but also taking the drugs out of our streets.
That's right.
The guns and the drugs are killing our kids, not just adults. It's killing kids. And I'm 16 years old, and I have a 7-year-old little brother. Wow. And to be honest, I was marching for him yesterday.
Amen.
Okay, that's fine. If you don't make laws for me, at least make laws for him, because I don't want him to grow up in a place where I have to worry. Okay, I'm sending my little brother to school. Will he come home? Will he come home alive? I'm sending him to school. Will he come back with a bullet?
That's right.
I'm sending him to school. Will he be on lockdown? Will all of his classmates be getting shot up? I don't want to have to live in that society, and it's sad. And that's what I think I would tell to people if I was to stand at the podium.
And she brings up some valid points. Let's talk about the drug issue, because we know when people are not in their right minds, they make bad decisions. Hurt people hurt people.
Yep.
Heal people. And with these young people, a lot of them are self-medicating to deal with the things that they deal with in their community. And a lot of it is seeing their friends and family members killed and never talking to a counselor.
Yes.
A lot of them have been sexually and physically abused in their households, and it's never been dealt with. When you start dealing with these young people and you see the violent offenders in our community, and you pull back the onion and you see how many of them have been raped, abused, neglected, raising themselves in their households, they use these drugs to cope with all that. And I always tell people, not in a crazy sense, but a lot of times for somebody to use K2, you already had to be out of your mind because you already seen what it does to people, right? So a lot of people are using this stuff knowing the effect that it can have, but they think, well, this would numb me. Maybe I can get over what I'm going through since nobody's reaching out to me, since people were just shot in my school and we didn't have all these counselors coming. But then when somebody is killed in an accident with one of the students drunk driving at a prom, they got counselors for days, right? So we know that the trauma that the young people are going through in our community and the adults, and nobody's dealing with it, we know what the effects. And I want to say this one last thing. I want to commend the mayor, some of the people she has working for her, like DYRS. Director Clinton Lacey has empowered young people, and he has empowered people who come from where they come from to go back into the community and help them people, because we know from the Bible, right? God always sent people who can relate to the people he was trying to reach. He didn't send somebody who was a scholar in biology to go deal with somebody who robbed banks or whatever, right? He didn't send somebody who robbed banks to go deal with somebody in biology or somebody who was committing fraud. So what I'm saying is, we have people like Lacey or Terry Oldham at Court Social Services and people who are reaching out to our young people. We just need to get it on a broader a broader scale and a broader base to make sure people don't fall through the cracks.
All right. Well, Jata, my man Ron, I love you both. Thank you so much. Thank you, listeners. And I'm going to get back with you too, Jata, real fast.
She's excellent.
She's excellent, right? To my listening audience, yesterday wasn't a joke. Yesterday was a start. Allow our kids to talk. Please allow our kids to talk. This is the Archie Beslow Radio Show. Let's figure it out. I love you all. God bless you. And God, thank you once again for giving me this platform to bring change. See you next week.
Thank y'all for listening. Appreciate
Thank you.
y'all.
Very
Y'all have a
powerful
blessed
show.
day. Enjoy your Sundays. Enjoy your Sunday. And I'm gonna go find. I'm about to go see my grandmother. Yeah, I'm about to go.
Amen.
14 Buchanan to
Love
see
y'all.
my grandmother.